This one we're going to pull the wheel bearing assembly out. We've got an ABS sensor that's corroded on its mounting point and too far away, causing too much air gap on the unit and not working properly. The wheel bearing on this is non-adjustable. It is the complete hub assembly, this triangulated area here. You'll then see a backing plate, then you'll see the steering knuckle itself then. On the front side of this vehicle is four-wheel drive, and it'd be true to a front-wheel drive vehicle. We can also see the nut that holds our drive axle in. The drive axle comes in through the center, seeing the bellows and the axle assembly going through the knuckle, which then drives the vehicle either forward or reverse on that. So first we're going to take this nut off the outer end. We don't have a brake to hold it. We've taken that off. We don't have a tire sitting on the ground to hold it. So you're probably going to need an impact to take this guy off. Of course, a torque on those is usually about 140, 180 foot-pounds. We'll check the manufacturer specification, but what I'm saying is it's very tight, and you're not going to keep this from spinning without an impact. And of course, this center hub, then the axle should just be able to shove back in, which this one is, and allows it to slide out of that hub itself then. So next what we've got to do is get this hub to come out of here. Although this is recessed inside of a boron here, these guys always get very, very corroded in there. So what I've done is I'm leaving these bolts in about 5 threads or so. That'll give me the opportunity to reach in with either a short or long punch and a small hammer and literally attempt to drive this out of there. Now I'm showing you this because these do get difficult. Now an air hammer would work also on this, so this will show you on maybe you'd want to get an air hammer to put in your toolbox for this purpose. Started to move a wee little bit on that one. Top one's still tight. This punch doesn't like to fit real well. I do have another one. I won't be able to swing up at the top. So what I'm going to do is turn my bolt so I can get on the flange of the bolt right there and hit the flange of it like that there then, and see if I can move the top of this out. It's starting to loosen up little by little. And so I don't destroy the flange too much, I'm going to rotate, get a new bite here. We're getting looser. And of course we have a third one. To get to the third one, I've got to go in the vehicle, rotate the wheel the other way. So that I can have access to it, and I can use my long punch on the front, the way the tie rod's set up here, and we'll see if we can get this part up here then. Work this side a little bit. Getting looser on the backing plate. A little more clearance. Top one's still a little tight. Let's work him a little bit more again. Moving it, I took my shot away. Come around to this side. I'm on the top bolt. Getting looser, and again working from bolt to bolt to bolt. lot looser. With that looseness, I may be able to get a chisel and work back and forth a little bit to maybe lead this guy out now because of the space. It's moving. Work that side out a tremendous amount. Getting a bigger gap here. Try walking this a little bit further. Back to the top once. And here we go. There we go. Now we'll take out the 3 bolts. 1 second. I'll show you how to clean this up. What kind of tools you can use to clean the bore up that the new bearing itself is going to slide into. You'll want to inspect the backing plate where it's pinched, where 2 pieces come together is where it's going to rust. It'll rust more there than it would where the 2 pieces or a single piece was. Hopefully I didn't distort the bolt head enough that I can't get a wrench on it. There's that one. Go for the top one now. Have to use a boxed end wrench. Too much bellows there for a ratchet to work. Of course, I don't want to break the grease boot. And almost there to where this hub assembly can come off. Already disconnected the wire for the ABS the whole way down through. Just gave myself a little more clearance by pulling the bolt in. That way the head wasn't hitting the drive shaft as much. Drive shaft's wanting to tilt upwards, giving me hitting my wrench. And at that point, there we come, making sure I don't pull the axle out of the transmission. So I was watching that, holding that in, and there we got it apart at that point. You can see the bolts are still on there. I'm going to look at the flange around here to make sure it's clean. I will shine this up a little bit and hit it with some OSPO to finish cleaning this up there. Now, to clean up your bore in there so that your new bearing will go in very easily. Back you out here just a touch on that. And again, you can see the corrosion inside of that. A couple of tools you may use if you come up with a 1/4 inch die grinder. You could stick a wire wheel on this and run around the inside of that. You do have an outer flat flange here, and this is what's going to center the bearing. So that'll actually change your alignment on your vehicle if you're not square when you go back together on this. So for that, I can try this, or I can take a Scotch-Brite pad And of course, this is the most common that you can find anymore. This grinder head that you see here has a thread in the center that allows this Scotch-Brite to be twisted on there, and then I can run down along him along with that. Not a problem here with any fibers off of this. This isn't inside of the engine on here. The older style of these Scotch-Brites used to be Velcro, but there was lots of problems with tearing the Velcro off the side. So the majority of these anymore do have the thread in the center. Why I'm saying that, where you're going to get your supply from, how available are they? Be careful on that purchase there. Another thing you could use, of course, you can get all kinds of grinding stones on that, but that takes a lot of metal out where the wire brush doesn't. And you can get all different shapes of wire brushes. This is a lot softer than on that. So let's hit this guy once. Clean this inner edge up. If I take this, lift the edge. That gives me a pretty clean surface that will then allow the new bearing to slide back into this bore. I only need to go as far as I have cleaned because there's actually a shoulder that steps up at that point there then, so we're good and clean. With that on the new bearing, we'll give that guy a little shot of never sees before we slide it in on this shoulder, and we'd be ready to go on that.